Last year I did a review of these amazing minifigs, Watchmen minifigures. For the most part, really like them, especially the two on the left there. Dr. Manhattan I wasn't super impressed with, but I was very lucky I was able to pick up one of the Christo Dr. Manhattans to fill that one in. So we're almost to a full roster of like the main characters, missing Nite-Owl, Silk Spectre, and Ozymandias. But today, with the release of this new pack of amazing minifigures, we're going to be filling in two more of the roster with, like I said, Nite-Owl and Silk Spectre. And with their releases, it's been kind of interesting since it takes them like a year between each of them. I always get a little bit worried, especially now at this point where we have 5 out of the 6 minifigures. Are they going to make the last one? The quantity is dropped in all of their drops of each minifigure too, so maybe the demand just hasn't been there. But as a Watchmen fan, I had to pick this up. You can see it is a 2 minifigure pack, so you got 2 separate packagings for them. You get the card right here with the pictures of all the minifigures. You can see they're kind of cobbled together. The lighting is definitely different on some of these. On the other side, we have this drawing that is very reminiscent of the Snyder movie that this is based on when they meet together. I don't think this actually is a scene that happens, probably a behind the scenes photo, but you can see they do have an Ozymandias design done for this drawing. So hopefully that means it'll come out eventually, but it's very cool to have something in the world for these characters. And it's kind of cool in the background too. You can see all the different portraits of each member of the original team as well. So glad to see those. You get a package for Nite-Owl, typical plastic case, minifigure. You get the card. I got 21 out of 60 here for Nite-Owl. I'll see if that's the same for Silk Spectre. Got an extra hairpiece for her. This is from Tier 1, so each bag has the warranty seal on them. And for Silk Spectre, again, 2160. So you do get the same number for both minifigures, which is kind of expected, but I guess you never know. Looks like she has an extra head. And maybe this one is double-sided. It looks like there is only the one head in there. Like I said, one more card, though, which is surprising. Usually you just get the one, but you kind of have them in the Atomic Blast, which is this scene from the comics and movie. Again, 21 out of 60 on this one. So this is a bit of an extra, but still kind of cool to see. And I guess it's just kind of fun to have more art of the minifigures that they're making. Makes it feel like more of a set, especially if you have all of the characters. And again, like I said, just need Ozymandias, so hopefully it comes out. Let's get him on the stand. We'll start out with Silk Spectre. And I'm really liking the design of both of these figures so far, just taking them out of the packaging. Just look at the printing on here. It's just very seamless. And honestly, the colors are matching pretty well, where most of these are black parts, like the hip, the arms, but they have the yellow printing on them, which matches the yellow torso. So it's good to see the consistency there. And the hip is actually really interesting, where it is printed or painted on the bottom of it even, where it should be black. So they're just going above and beyond there to give it some extra detailing. And it's just the subtle detailings too, like on the legs you get a little bit there to imply the heel, which is pretty faint honestly, but is still effective to have it implied in some way. And even bending the legs, you can see that it is continued on the inside too. So a little bit of extra detailing all over the place. Flesh-wise, on the legs, I feel like that's printed pretty accurately to the color. You can see the lighting there. Those do feel pretty close. And there's even a little bit of extra yellow printed at the top of the leg as you bend it. You're not going to be able to bend it all the way. There is going to be just black. There's even a little bit of flesh printed on the top to continue that design though. So where you have like the break in the plastic there, it's still going to be flesh colored all the way through. So that's nice to see. Silver looks good on like the zippers and then the belt. Same with like the buckles on the arms. I'm just really liking this minifigure version of the suit. You know, in the comics it's kind of weird to figure out what her suit is made of, and then they made it into the more latex just bodysuit in the movie, which I think is kind of a good transition or just translation from the comic books. And looking at it here, you know, I guess it could be kind of a little both ways, where you could fudge it into your comic display versus the movie. Like I said, I just really like these arms. I think they're really cool. And you can see that there's a little bit of yellow on the inside of the arm, maybe. I don't want to pop the arms off necessarily, but it is just black where the glove would be. So the breakups of the colors works effectively. And I guess if you bend it into a sitting position, it'll look pretty good. then I guess a little bit of breakup in the print, I guess, where the different pads hit it. So that's a little weird to see as I'm showing you that here. Huh. That might be a little bit of error that they don't want you to notice. That's fine. You have the custom molded hairpiece as well, which is nice. Do really like the sheen on it. It is ABS molded like Lego, so it has the plastic shine you would hope for. Facial expression, you got a little bit of a beauty mark on the side there. I think this face is really good. That was probably my biggest complaint from their Dr. Manhattan, honestly, where it's just the face just looks weird and it's not proportioned right. I don't think that's the case here. I think this is a very natural Lego expression. The mouth, maybe a little bit on the small side, but also doesn't look bad. You get a little bit of lipsticks and black to just outline the inside of her mouth. Looks good. Popping out the hair, not super tight or anything, so you're not gonna have to worry about damaging the printing as you're messing with that. Oops, dropped it. On the back, you got another expression, which is more neutral. We got the hair off, you can see more at the back, which just continues like the belt design. And again, just like some more creases in like the leather, which I guess might be kind of present on the front too. Looks like there's some lines going in and out. Obviously some subtle shading on the front. I don't think that's really as present as much on the back. Just looks like solid colors. So nothing to complain about. I do like the design. Looks like the front got a little bit more love, which is fine. When you have the hair piece on, you won't even notice. I'll flip around the head. And this just has a bit of a smirk versus the other one being more of a shocked, or I guess not shocked, well, a little bit of shocked and frowny face, I guess. No, like battle face, which is too bad, I guess. But there you go. Like both of them. Maybe this one more. I guess the back one would be kind of when she's escaping from the fire in the apartment building, maybe. Who knows? But like I said, you get the custom one, but there is another hairpiece too, so I'll toss that one on, which I don't think was advertised as coming in the pack, but it's this official minifigure hair. But I think it's painted brown instead of being the normal black, so just a little sturdier, very firmer than the official one. And as you take it off and put it back on, you'll probably see some paint chipping on the inside. But I know in some scenes from pictures I've seen, she does have this style a lot more. But also, I do think this custom molded piece looks great too. So you have two different options. It is nice of them to throw in another hair piece unexpectedly. Nice little perk. And on top of that, it's interesting they also threw in that extra head, which is the same head as this one, where it has the same facial expressions on it. So I'm not 100% sure why they included that, but I guess, again, nice to have a backup if it gets damaged in some way, or if you want to throw it on a civilian minifigure, I guess you could do that too. Who knows? They don't really have like a message in there why they included that, but it's there. And you got some extra options, I guess, with the hairpiece. I don't know, I don't hate this, but I just think having that custom molded piece is cool too. But let's go to Nite-Owl, which honestly, it's tough for me. Looking at these two, I don't know which one would end up being my favorite now. Maybe still the comedian, but both of these are awesome. I mean, just look at the really cool metallic brown we have here for the base sort of layer for like the legs and torso. That looks really great. Molded accessories again. You got the owl sort of mask. The cape is a solid plastic piece, and then you also got the belt that is metallic gold with the, I guess, owl ring, whatever you want to call that, crescent shaped. It's too bad it doesn't come with a version that can be handheld, but you know, you could use the official part that's like that. It would obviously be a little bit bigger and comically sized, but at least you could have an accessory. I've noticed this is a little loose as you're kind of touching it. It's going to get bumped out of place, which is better than having it too tight, I would definitely say. Getting to the back again, I do think plastic color on the custom parts might be a little bit off, where this is a lot more reddish on the official color, and these ones are more just straight brown. Honestly, other than the head, the color difference doesn't bother me too much, but when you have like the mask part on the head, that's where it gets a little goofy. I wouldn't be too bothered if the cape was a different color, since that's like a separate part of the armor. But it's kind of nice to get like the shoulder pad piece that transitions pretty seamlessly into the cape, where it is kind of like that in the comics, but that is more just like solid shape all around. And honestly, out of all of these, the comic version of a character I would definitely want would be Nite-Owl, because his comic suit is just so goofy. Obviously, cape's going to be a little bit of a hindrance to the arm movement, where you can't move them back at all from where they are right now, but you can move it forward. It has this metallic printing though. usually adds a little bit of thickness. That makes it just a little bit harder to move the arms, but you can see there's no extra printing on the side there. It just continues the color, which is perfectly fine. I do really like the arm printing though, where it has like the scaling, which continues around, and also just like kind of that brownish purplish color that kind of feels sand reddish to me, sand purplish to me. And that'll just obviously be on both sides. I guess I gotta check the inside of the arm too, see what we got going on there. Detailing doesn't continue around, but the color does, so that is just good information for you to know, I guess, if that is something you're interested in. But it makes sense to me, I guess, why they wouldn't want to put more detailing on. And we'll notice that too when we take off the cape. Obviously, too, with the metallic printing, it gets a little bit tough to see some of the detailing on camera, I would say, as compared to in person. But I do really like both metallic options they use for the detailing. Even just the accent sort of, like I said, that kind of brownish purplish color is kind of cool. And there's some subtle detailing as well with like some waves for, I'm assuming, muscles, like all of these superhero suits have on the legs. Cool boot printing as well, but we'll take a closer look at that after I pop off the cape, and I guess I'll just do that quick. But I guess first we should take a look at the head, which I'm not really seeing like a Patrick Wilson likeness here. I think with the mask on, it definitely fits Nite-Owl, so I wouldn't complain too much. I feel like the flesh coloring on it is nice. It isn't like too pale like Legos would probably end up like. Cheek lines look cool. There's like even a little bit of like chin lines at the bottom there, which are nice. Could have left those out probably. And again, the mouth looks good. I think it's a good facial likeness. Not super uncanny like the Dr. Manhattan again. And while I have that head off, we'll just take a look at everything. The cape just slides over the neck. So not going to be super complicated to get it on and off. There is a little bit of a divot you can see, so the head will rest down into the shoulder piece instead of floating above it. See it as a black torso with the metallic printing on it. So I'm sure that was just kind of the cheapest torso that they could get, which is fine. Getting to the legs and the torso, nothing on the back, which is a little bit disappointing, especially on the legs more than anything, since you can still kind of see some of that with the cape on. Noticing that I think I must have put the arm back a little bit too far there. Definitely feel like there should be something for the legs. On the torso, that's perfectly acceptable, I would say. That's going to be covered up by the cape at all times. So I could see why they would want to print more there. That would just add to the budget and just make it more expensive. But I'm liking the side of the legs too, again, with that sort of purplish design. Get a little bit of the hip trunk print continued on. So as you bend it, again, a little bit on the stiff side. That's why I'm struggling so much to maneuver this around, and you're going to want to keep that in mind. When you have the thicker coating, like a metallic print like this, don't move it around more than you have to. Otherwise, ink will get scraped off and it could get damaged. So this is going to be one of those figures you're probably just going to pose like one time, put in a case, or for a couple photos. Otherwise, you're just risking more damage every time you use it. See, as I bend the leg, the brown will break up pretty much immediately for the trunk design, so that's kind of unfortunate. Again, oh, don't love how stiff the legs are. I don't want to be moving around these around too much. And on the inside of the legs, no extra detail printing. So is what it is. Again, not going to complain too much. Popping off the torso to get the belt off, just for fun. Looks like the top of the hip isn't printed at all. It is just that brown all the way. So that's kind of nice, I guess. At least the hip doesn't have an extra coating on it, so there's somewhere where it is less loose. They probably should have sanded down the legs before they printed, or sanded down the inside of the hip to give it more motion in the leg. I know that's what Bagels did for their Cal Kestis, and they had to reprint legs to make them less susceptible to damage, and then sent them out. Something they probably could have done here, but like I've said before about all the other parts, the nice little bits of detail add a lot. I think the boot printing looks cool, and there's just like a little bit of detailing on the front too to add different parts of his shoe boot design. And overall, all the colors they chose work really well, make a really cool minifigure. So I'm glad to finally have Nite-Owl in the collection. And let's get all the pieces back together so we could toss on that one last head, which will be very similar to the last one. with another, I guess, stern look. So I guess it's kind of fun. You get the open mouth expression for both these characters. And then the closed one, I know on all of the advertisement that kind of showed it off, they were emulating the part where they get blown up. So probably taken from the movie and comics using these. I'm noticing that the mask is a lot looser on this one. So just be careful as you're moving the minifigure around that you don't lose that. I do really like the black printing continuing around for his goggles and gets all the way to the back. I think that looks cool. Everything's very seamless about this minifigure. Again, with facial design looking pretty much the same, just with a different mouth. Details are where you expect them to be. I think the molds work pretty well. The plastic quality seems good, other than the fit on the mask, which for me, this is just going to be a minifigure in a case. I'm not going to have to worry about missing parts or anything like that. It'll just be where it's going to be. But cool to get this. Looking forward to hopefully getting Ozymandias in the future. I hope they finish the line. Let's go to the comparisons and the final view. Overall, I'd say Amazing has done a pretty good job of this lineup of Watchmen minifigures. Obviously, since they're the only ones I have, I don't have like a crazy amount to compare to. Really just Dr. Manhattan here, where I have the Crystal version too, like I said. Definitely like this one better. This one's just weird and uncanny, unfortunately, for my collection. But give me the two new ones here. The mask, definitely loose. That would probably be the worst part of these two minifigures, I guess that, and also the back printing not existing. Like I said, I do get it with the cape, and I just want to compare this one with the Rob Pattinson Phoenix Customs version of that minifigure there, since they both have the molded capes. They both have the same sort of helmet style where it blends in with just like the minifigure head instead of being like a full molded piece going over a head. I think this is definitely the way to go for these types of cowls, masks, whatever you want to call them. Both of them look good. Silk Spectre, I think, is pretty much a perfect minifigure. Not a whole ton I would change there. It's nice to have the two different head or face options, two different hair pieces. So you got some customization you can do there to make it your perfect version. And on top of that, I just think the design and printing is perfect for the movie version. And with like all 5 members now, it's really hard for me to choose a favorite because I forgot how much I really like the Rorschach figure. I think the comedian has the best accessories, so he looks great too, and I think facial expressions on him are also amazing from that review when I did that. But I really love the colors on Nite-Owl. I think this kind of stands out a lot more compared to the other ones with the flashy sort of metallic printing, cool molded accessories. I would have liked maybe something else, whether it was like an Beyond the Hood book or even like the trophy that Hollis Mason has. That'd be kind of cool, but these kind of leave me craving maybe some of the Minutemen characters, like I kind of mentioned too. We just keep getting the main roster. I'd love to get some side characters if it could happen. Maybe at a less detailed, maybe a bit cheaper price point would be nice, but I guess I'll take what I can get. And I just put down some other custom minifigures in my collection that kind of match the maturity. Also just DC type, superhero type characters, I guess. These two right here are 2 of my favorite DC characters. Great molds, great design. So I feel like these definitely fit in with these. You know, especially with these being movie characters, it is good to see them fit in with other like comic type characters if you really wanted to. Obviously, the suit designs are all super different. Like I said, Nite-Owl in a comic suit as a minifigure would be super cool. I know some people have made some cheaper like UV versions. I want a pad printed, like great designed one. That's, I guess, on my wish list. But other than that, you know, just amazing. Hopefully he actually comes around, makes his Ozymandias, and finishes out this set, so I have my complete collection. But let me know, out of the Watchmen minifigures here, do you have a favorite? Let me know in the comments. If you want to see more custom Lego Watchmen reviews or custom Lego reviews overall, check out all the content on my channel. I have been Brick Radiop, and I'll see you in the next video.